Hi, I'm Harry Massey, the inventor of the MyHealth health system. Now today we can have a brief look at both the MyHealth and also Provision and how they work. Now what we now know about the body is rapidly evolving, and so our ability to heal and support the body's optimal health is also rapidly evolving. What NES does is it provides a complete healthcare system that restores health at its source, and this is accomplished in 3 ways. Firstly, we will re-imprint the body back to its original and optimal blueprint using both energy and information. Secondly, we also rebuild the biochemistry of the body nutritionally, and finally, we rejuvenate the body's overall energy. Now we also provide a powerful at-home wellness program for your clients or patients, so that with our consumer MyHealth, you can prescribe functions from your clinic that are then activated on your client's device so that they can continue to use its therapy functions in the comfort of their own home. The MyHealth is linked to your clinic via the internet, so they don't even have to be in your office when you prescribe the functions. And best of all, using the products and technologies in our NES system of healthcare is easy, and everything is designed to work seamlessly together to restore the body's information, rebuild its biochemistry, and rejuvenate its energies. Just use the MyHealth connected to your Provision software to scan your client, and this scan is non-invasive, it takes only seconds, and then Provision, it immediately returns a detailed analysis of the client, as well as recommend specific MyHealth integrators, which are also known as SMI functions, and they tell you exactly what to do to deliver a powerful and targeted therapy to your client using the MyHealth. In moments, you can select those functions on your MyHealth and then deliver the therapy, and an entire session, it takes less than 20 minutes. Now in a moment, I'll take you through a live scan demonstration and tell you a little bit more about the MyHealth, Provision and our other products. But first, let's discuss why the NES system of healthcare is so powerful and what we've accomplished over the past 10 years. Now frontier science proves that there is a regulating field of energy and information that operates in the physical body at the subcellular level. At NES Health, we call this the human body field, and we have researched its functions and structures for more than 30 years. And in that time, we've discovered that the root causes of physical problems are distortions and blockages in the body field, which serve as a master control system for all physiological function. And our suite of solutions, including our Provision analysis software, the MyHealth, our infoceuticals, and also the Nutrition supplement line, all of these are designed to detect and correct the distortions and blockages in the body and its biofield, so that the body can then return to optimum function. For example, in a recent clinical trial at a top neurology clinic, NES products were tested for effectiveness in achieving significant pain relief for patients suffering from arthritis and fibromyalgia who were experiencing quite a lot of pain 24/7. What they found was that a single MyHealth therapy session delivered in clinic to the patient relieved the pain for up to 4 days on average before it returned, and subsequent MyHealth therapy sessions performed similarly. While these results were already quite positive, next the clinic decided to test the effectiveness of using MyHealth with recommendations from our NES Provision analysis software. Before delivering MyHealth therapies, the clinics now began each session by scanning and analysing patients with the software, and instead of directly addressing the area expressing pain using the MyHealth, clinicians delivered the MyHealth functions recommended by the Provision software. What they found astounded them. Pairing the MyHealth with the analysis and recommendations of Provision, they saw patients experience an average of 3 weeks of pain relief before requiring another session. That's a 525% increase in pain reduction when using both technologies together. Now this effect is accelerated even further using the Nutrition alongside the MyHealth and Provision. What makes NES different is that we look to the source of health and to the physics that underlie the biochemistry of the body. However, we still take into account and address the biochemistry too. This is a truly unique system of healthcare because it allows you to accurately assess and correct what's happening in the body based on the body's own information and energy. And it's currently the only system we know of that helps you to not only assess what's going on, but also address what you find, all within a single, cohesive and holistic system of care. Now, we do present a newer way of looking at the body, the way a scientist is likely to view the body, that a doctor or health practitioner may find presents some new terminology. However, the NES healthcare system itself is really quite elegant and simple, and you might look at it like this. First, you use ProVision to look at the entire master system of the body, as well as all its subsystems, to analyse what's actually going on in the body, not just based on symptoms, but looking to the source of any pain, discomfort or complaint. Now, along with the analysis, ProVision also recommends therapy protocols that you can deliver with our solutions. Second, you then begin therapy by re-imprinting the body with the information it needs to correct the detected issues. Now, this can be done through our liquid lymphoceuticals or via the digital lymphoceuticals, or what we called the Pacific MyHealth integrators on the MyHealth device. And thirdly, as the body begins its process of returning to its original blueprint for health using the lymphoceuticals, you can support its functions with our Nestrition line. Now, based on what ProVision has detected in the body, it will recommend the right Nestrition products that are designed to nutritionally rebuild and support the biochemistry of that part of the body. And finally, rejuvenation of the body's energy stores is vitally important as it undertakes the healing process. And while our lymphoceuticals and Nestrition both address this, we also provide several rejuvenation functions within the MyHealth, which are perfect for use at home with our consumer MyHealth or in office as part of your overall session. Now, these additional functions help ensure that any energy blocks in the body field are released, and therefore helps to provide energy to where it's needed during the healing process. How do we actually use this MyHealth device and ProVision? The first thing we do is we simply connect the MyHealth device that I've got in my hand to the computer via a USB cord, and then we go to the computer, we click on NES ProVision, which is version 2, and it loads up like so. And what we do now is we go and add a client, and we just agree to this above statement, this disclaimer here. We'll go Mr. Harry Massey. I'm not going to bother filling out my address. I'm not female, I'm male, so we better do that. And we click save here, and if you want to add in any additional information about the patient, then you can do that in that box right there. So now we're clicking save. So we click just here, and you can see it then says place your hand on the device. So you just place your hand, and it really doesn't matter where you put it, you just put a couple of fingers on, and you can see it says body field detected, and we hit start. And it literally just takes about 20 seconds to scan all of the information of the body field. And as soon as that's done, we'll be able to see all the results like so. Here we go. This here is the first screen that you get in ProVision. And you can see that the menu is split into three. There's the human body field, which includes the drivers or the main organs of the body, the energetic integrators, which are the main meridian systems of the body, energetic terrains, which are basically viral and bacterial families, energetic stars, which are basically groups of information sets that affect the body, the environmental screen, nutrition screens, muscle screens, and the matrix regulators. And that's the main human body field part, which is all of the work of Peter Fraser. We also have it split into a mind module, which has like different various emotions, and we'll go through these at length later. and core beliefs and shock conflicts. And we also have the My Health screen, which tells us where we need to place the My Health. So we'll just go back to the human body field screen. And this screen, we can see how the Earth's polarity, Earth's magnetic, and also the Earth's gravitational fields all affect our body. And in my case, it's not too bad. It's perhaps a bit of big field aligner, which is mainly due to me travelling around and being in strange hotels. Now we'll move on to the driver screen. Now, on first glance, this seems like the organ systems of the body. However, there's a little bit of a difference. What we're talking about with energetic drivers is how your organs actually generate energy for your body field. So it's how it generates the energy in the first place, so that information can be carried properly right across the body field. And in this particular case, which is me, it's the imprinter driver, and that's referring to how the heart is able to imprint information right across the body. There's also cell driver, which is to do with how the centrosome is generating energy in the body, and also circulation driver and heart driver. And all of these you have to think a little bit differently. Where if we looked at nerve driver, how that's calculated is basically looking at how well your nervous system is generating alpha and delta, and you have to look at these a little bit differently to how you're perhaps normally used to thinking. And or if we looked at heart driver, what that's looking at is how the four compartments of the heart are able to generate this lub-dub sound and therefore generate energy right across the body. So it's not looking at a chemical type viewpoint. We're going to move on to look at the energetic integrated system. What Peter did that was absolutely brilliant is work out the energetic integrated system. What Peter did is he basically measured the various frequencies that were being emitted by the body field, all the way from sound frequencies up to light frequencies. And if we're looking at EI1, this is all based in phonons or sound particles. And if we're looking at EI12 up here, it's all based in photons and light particles. And he then matched different parts of the body back to these particular frequency compartments. And then after that, he also matched that to the normal Chinese meridian system. So it basically goes a little bit further than Chinese meridian system, but if you have an understanding of the Chinese meridian system, it's quite similar. But if we're looking at EI4, which would normally be the heart meridian, but you can also see the detail of how the heart meridian affects different parts of the brain and inside, which wouldn't normally be known in the normal Chinese meridian system. So it's basically a more detailed version of the Chinese meridian system. Now we're going to move on and have a look at the scanned My Health integrators. And what these are a different way of viewing the integrator map that we were looking at here. So if we're looking at here and we're looking at EI2, we can see these items are coming up. We can see there's a problem with sciatica there. But if we then go to the SMI screen, i.e. the scanned My Health integrated screen, we can see that particular sciatic thing coming up on that dot there. And what that tells us is where and how to then treat with the My Health. So, we don't have to guess or take local measurements on the skin or anything. So we just grab our My Health and we go into the SMI menu on here, and we literally just select, in this particular case, we're going to select C6, and we would do a treatment there. We would also do A2 and B3, C2 and B9. And this is a really quick and convenient way of using the My Health on the body and knowing exactly what to do and where to do it and what setting. So the SMI screen is really something you would use straight away in a clinical setting. The first time a client comes in, you would do a scan, see what comes up, and you would use the SMI screen. Now after this, what do they do when they go home? Now if you've given them a consumer version of the My Health, you can basically load up, you can preload onto their My Health just through our internet portal, whichever various SMS functions or drivers that you think are appropriate for that person, and they can then use that My Health on themselves at home. Or if perhaps they don't want to commit to that level, or perhaps they don't want to buy a consumer MyHealth, you can literally instead you can give them the appropriate drivers that come up on the driver's screen, and you can just give them the various energetic integrators in our liquid infoceuticals. So there's two routes here, and either is good. I mean, the MyHealth has a slight advantage in that it also includes global scaling frequencies, and you can give really local specific treatments, whereas the infoceuticals are more of a long-term unpeeling of the onion layer type of treatment. But of course, an infoceutical costs less to buy than a consumer MyHealth, and a client may not be ready initially to buy a consumer MyHealth, although after a few treatments, very likely they will be, as they would have experienced such fantastic results. Now, the other key screen really is the Distortions screen, and what Distortions is compared to any other type of supplement, and there's obviously thousands of types of supplements around on the market. What we've done at NES is only used food-based and herbal type ingredients of the highest quality, but what we've also done is imprinted them with the specific information for that particular area of the body. So we're basically combining the best of bioenergetics, with the best of food-based and herbal nutrition. So if we take something like Tummy Smooth here, it's imprinted with stomach driver, it's imprinted with an absorption formula, and it means that the herbs and the ingredients used in that product will be targeted exactly to that particular area of the body, and you get a much increased healing response, because the informational and energetic aspects are also being supported along with the actual building blocks of the food-based and herbal ingredients that help that body's function. Now, this screen is called the energetic terrains. What we're looking at here is the terrain where a bug may be able to flourish, and by correcting the terrain in the body, we're able to get the body to reject and get rid of the bug. So if ET11 comes up, that may be related to hepatitis B. However, what it's really looking at is how to correct the liver's function so that it's able to reject the bugs and function properly. We'll just have a quick look at the energetic stars screen, and in this particular case, this is one called Memory Imprinter, which really shows that how memory is related to the heart, and by correcting parts of the heart that link to different parts of the brain, we're able to enhance memory and also emotional chill. Now, we also have an environmental screen where, although there's hundreds of thousands of various chemicals, we basically looked at a few of the really nasty insecticides, solvents, and EMF and heavy metals, and displayed them on this screen. However, in a way, the solutions really are all covered by the drivers, the energetic integrators, terrains, and stars, and the MyHealth. And by correcting the healing capacity of the body, your body ends up removing all of these solvents and insecticides and damage done by EMF. So it's more of a point of interest than necessarily something to worry about how to treat it. But of course, it does also help to identify how people may have got ill in the first place, which is always important. Now, one of the other key screens in ProVision is the mind, and there's some really interesting ways of treating with ProVision. I'm just going to go into the shock conflict screen. Now, different parts of the brain are also related to different parts of the body, and these different parts of the body are also related to various emotional shocks or conflicts. And in this particular one, the rectum is related to letting go, or some ugly situation around letting go, or belief control and that type of stuff. And these emotional conflicts, they can also be treated with the MyHealth using these different brainstem holograms, or they can be used directly on these parts of the body, like kidneys is for isolation. You can use it directly over the kidneys, with that particular SMI function, while you're doing perhaps an EFT or NLP technique, which can be particularly powerful. We'll just go back to that. We'll also display a lot of different core emotions. Apparently I've got a bit of regret and security. Security is a big one for me because I'm in between countries, so that's all part of the fun. What Provision also does is it gives you recommendations, so you don't have to work out, what to do for your client, and you can, if someone's visited you 3 times, in my case, I've visited myself quite a lot, probably 200 times at least, if not more. And if you want to, you can change it, but obviously we don't recommend you changing it. And it tells you how many drops to take on what day, and then if you create a PDF, it'll print out that chart with all the full instructions for your clients they can take home, along with the right nutrition things. And obviously before, we've already got the recommendations of where to use the My Health on that screen there. The other thing it will do, we can also generate various reports, and we can select other scans from before and view reports, and we can see what's going on between different days and dates. So how do you actually use the My Health? Let's go through that. So we turn it on right here, and you can see there's 3 menus: My Health, Cycles, and SMI. If we click on My Health, what these are basically various functions, and I'm going to look at physical, and I'm just going to pick physical rejuvenation here, and as the word says, it helps rejuvenate physical parts of the body like muscles and tendons. We hit the right button here, and up comes this screen. Now we can basically use this device on body or off body. At the moment, when we're looking at these 2 bars, it's using it on body, which means a signal is coming out of the electrodes. Now at the moment it's in on body mode, which what on body is, it means signals are coming out of the electrodes and it's triggering a healing response directly in that part of the body by putting the information in on that carrier wave tuned to that very specific frequency. And we can also take measurements by clicking on that graph to see what the body's response is, and we get a very good result that way. But there's also, which is actually just as powerful, is off-body, and off-body is often used either in acute conditions or around open sores, or we're increasing its use with the SMI functions. And what's happening here is the information's actually being carried on a magnetic wave, even though the electrodes are off, because although the electrodes are off, the transformers inside the device are well and truly on, and are producing a field that extends by about 1.5 meters, and the information that's carried by that pulsed electromagnetic field also has a very strong effect. Now, what else is on this device? Well, under the My Health tab, we have a lot of different menus that you can see here. We've got menus for various energy settings, for physical settings, for mind settings, for protection settings, for chakras settings. We've also got a lot of cycles. So if we're looking at Chinese cycle, it will change every 2 hours and give the body the precise information it needs for that time of day. And we have many different cycles, like a transformation cycle that goes through all the chakras, or a peace cycle, a radiation cycle. And then we have the SMI menu that we talked about earlier, where you can see what comes up in Provision, and literally just, if A1 comes up, you hit A, and you hit A1, and off you go. That's just a really quick run through of the My Health and Provision. I really recommend that you sign up to one of our online webinars, which are far more detailed and really tell you much more about what's going on with that. One of my favourite stories is about a woman who approached us at one of our training events. Now, she told us that her husband in his 70s had been really quite ill, and medical tests had revealed his heart was badly enlarged and he'd been mostly confined to bed. Now, their medical treatment plan was to wait and see what happens, but his wife had decided to seek out one of our practitioners in the meantime, and during the MyHealth scan, the area of this man's body and body field that needed immediate attention turned out not to be his heart, but rather what we call the bone driver. Now, it actually makes sense in our view of healing because the bone driver bioenergetically affects calcium metabolism, which in turn affects all muscle tissues including the heart. Plus, it combines 3 acupuncture meridians through which energy flows from the feet towards the head directly through the heart. After this woman's husband took the bone driver infusical for 2 days, the swelling of his heart went down to the point where he could get out of bed, walk around and function again. And this is just one of the numerous ways we've seen where the source of a problem is not really indicated or detectable by the actual biological symptom itself. Using the handheld MyHealth device, you begin by selecting the appropriate treatment function based on your client's symptoms or complaints. Now, these functions come preloaded on most MyHealth devices and address the most common complaints such as headaches, insomnia, sports injury, muscle or joint pain, digestion, stress or fatigue and so forth. And once selected, you can deliver the treatment function in either on-body mode or in broadcast mode. And currently the MyHealth is the only device in existence that can operate both on-body and off-body. This gives you added versatility in treatment options, such as in addressing deeper chronic issues where a deeper on-body correction might be called for, as opposed to acute immediate injury or open wounds where broadcast mode is required, or increasingly so with the SMI functions. The device is based on the concept of pulsed electromagnetic fields and uses 3 technologies to stimulate the body's healing response. The first is bioelectric stimulation, which provides stimulation of the skin and enhances blood circulation in the underlying living tissue matrix. The second is global scaling frequencies, which are based on the natural oscillations of the human body, which then allow the MyHealth to resonate with the human body field. And thirdly, informational healthcare via the digital infoceuticals. Now, these are specific and proprietary codes we've identified while mapping the entire human body field, which inform the body how best to repair itself. This basic use of the MyHealth device is ideal for situations where discomfort or injury is clear and diagnosis is simple, and also use the MyHealth to deliver preloaded wellness cycles for overall homeostasis and energy balancing. When paired with our advanced analysis software ProVision, you can use your MyHealth device to scan your client's total body field and get an accurate and in-depth view of field distortions within the information and energy of the body, including a readout of your client's current physical and emotional states. And the scan itself is quick, easy and non-invasive. In essence, the MyHealth senses the quality of response your body gives to its inquiry scan, and it can do this by itself to detect specific problems in a local area on the body through an electrical reading. Now, it can also function as the scanning device for ProVision, and by placing it on your client's hand for a few moments, you can scan and analyse their entire body field. Now, depending on how strong or weak the response is from each part of the biofield, our ProVision software prioritises the responses and returns them graphically for you to assess. The stronger the response, the more distortion has been detected and will hence be shown for recommended correction. Now, our system is not a biofeedback type of system, however. Instead, we use quantum entanglement to detect levels of resonance, or what we call matching, to determine the level of distortion between what your client's body field is expressing and the blueprint we have for an optimally performing body field. It's truly remarkable what we've seen demonstrated over the past 10 years with the MyHealth system. The fact that you can energise the body field to help the physical body recover, even when the cause of physical problems is unknown. This was unheard of not so long ago. For example, we had a naturopathic physician, Jason, who became a MyHealth practitioner. Now, one of his elderly patients, Randolph, was suffering debilitating fatigue. He could barely function, and as it turned out, he'd been hospitalised with pneumonia just 6 months before. Now, after his regular healthcare providers could could give him no answers or path for recovery, he turned to Jason, and the Provision scan revealed that Randall's source energy was severely depleted, meaning that the life energy that fuels the entire body, basically the driver of all drivers in the body, was running on close to empty. And after a month of taking our source driver infoceutical, Randall's source energy showed on a subsequent scan to be fully corrected. In his own words, he said, "He felt like a 30-year-old again, and that really still puts a smile on my face." Along with extensive diagnosis of the various field distortions of the body, the Provision software also tells you which distortions to address first and in which sequence. This prioritised sequence is according to our research findings into the preferred sequence of healing that the body requires. Along with extensive analysis of the various field distortions in the body, the Provision software also tells you which distortions to address first and in which sequence. This prioritised sequence is according to our research findings into the preferred sequence of healing that the body requires. In other words, the software indicates which distortions are best corrected first to support the body's own self-healing capabilities, which is what ultimately restores the body to homeostasis and optimal health. So what precisely is a distortion? Well, essentially, a distortion in your body field, it indicates where information transfer processes have broken down or where information regulation has gotten scrambled. So to correct the imbalances in your body field, you need to provide it with the information it needs to return to normal and efficient functioning, essentially the unscrambled and original blueprint for proper function. And that's the job of our infoceuticals and nutrition line. Now, if all of these products are encoded, or what we call imprinted, with the information that your body field needs to be able to reset itself to its optimal blueprint. And since each infoceutical matches with a specific aspect of the body field, it's easy to determine which to use and in what order based on the Provision scan. As you can already tell, there's an enormous foundation of science, clinical trials and research that have gone into our NES system of healthcare. Now, I really hope that you'll be able to attend our next training, read the book The Human Body Field and watch our film The Living Matrix, and I really look forward to you joining our NES family. Thank you for your time in watching this today.